covering the entire Piedmont Triad and everywhere you are. This is WXII 12 News at 6.
It sounded like somebody dropped something off of the top, and all of a sudden I see people fall. 3 people fall to the ground. I don't know what happened to them. And all I see is people going down to the floor and running. So I grabbed a kid and ran.
Chaos and panic today inside of a Baltimore area mall after a gunman opens fire. You're taking a look at that mall where 3 people were killed and 5 more sent to the hospital. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Veronica White. Some shoppers ran for their lives. Others sought shelter inside the stores. Police say the shooter, armed with a shotgun, was dead by the time they arrived. Brian Moore has the story.
In a matter of moments, a quiet Saturday inside a packed Maryland shopping mall turned into a terrifying life or death drama.
I heard a bang and I said, man, that kind of sounds like a gunshot.
Kind of sounded like a transformer blowing kind of sort of sound, and then one right behind it, and I realized that it was something was wrong and started to see people run by my store.
The shots rang out at 11:15 a.m. inside the mall in Columbia, and police were on the scene within 2 minutes.
You have reports of, looks like at least 3 down at this point, all on the upper level.
Police found 3 people fatally shot at a skate shop overlooking the food court. One was the gunman, a shotgun and a cache of ammunition found with his body. The victims?
The 2 deceased, there is an adult male, adult female in their 20s. They're both employees of the store.
5 people were injured, 1 shot in the foot. While many fled the mall, others sheltered in place. It took more than an hour and a half until police could give the all clear. But they say it will be some time before they know what happened inside the mall and why. Brian Moore, NBC News.
All 5 victims that were taken to the hospital have been treated and released. Only 1 of them was shot. The rest received minor injuries due to falls. Police in Maryland have released the names of the victims. They are 21-year-old Brianna Benolo and 25-year-old Tyler Johnson. Both were employees of Zumia's skate shop. The gunman has yet to be identified, and a motive is still unknown. A suspect has been arrested in the fatal shooting of a student at South Carolina State University. Police took 19-year-old Justin Bernard Singleton into custody early this morning. He is charged with the murder in the death of 20-year-old Brandon Robinson. Singleton was taken into custody in Orangeburg, where the school is located. Robinson died Friday afternoon after he was shot outside a dormitory. Officers initially said they were looking for 4 suspects, but have not said whether or not an active manhunt is still underway. Officials have not said what led to the shooting.
Well, good evening. Take a look at these temperatures out there. Feels like conditions worse up in the high country. 12 for folks in Galax, 27 in Mount Airy, 32 in Winston-Salem, 27 in Greensboro, though. And you see temperatures sitting in the 30s here where we have stronger winds. That's where we have the impact of your feels like temperature. Winds are out of the west-southwest at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. We have mostly clear skies as we go into the next few hours. So we're going to get cold again overnight. And wind chill concerns for the high country, 5 to 20 below as we head through early morning. Your wind chill also accompanied by wind advisories until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And again, we're looking at a concern there with temperatures at 30 degrees for you this evening, 25 around 11 o'clock, and then all the way down to 17, feeling more like single digits potentially for the Triad too. Here's your cold front. It is sweeping in, and this is our Alberta Clipper, a very fast moving cold front that typically brings snow along with it. That should stay to the north, but still a possibility of snow this evening in Boone, and we'll show you what's happening out there too. It's all coming up.
A local stone manufacturing company goes up in flames. A fire broke out around 6:15 this morning, and dozens of firefighters raced to the scene to put it out in frigid conditions. Dalitha Vickers has an update from the scene.
An early morning fire brought out 30 to 40 firefighters from the Mount Airy Fire Department here to the Acme Stone Company. Take a look here behind me. One of 3 buildings destroyed by fire. Investigators tell us that there were several explosions happening inside because of paint cans. There were also several conveyor belts that went up in flames. Take a look out here on the ground. You can see a lot of ice. This is all from the water being pumped by the hoses trying to put out this blaze. Firefighters had quite a difficult time battling the elements out here, but thankfully, firefighters say that everyone was okay.
It's very difficult, but you know, our guys have adjusted. We know what precautions to take. Just the operations weren't hampered but everything's just a little bit more, precautious when as soon as this water hits the ground, it turns into ice, and they lose their footing.
The entire road outside of Acme Stone Company had a lot of ice, so firefighters put down a bed of sand as a precaution so that none of the vehicles traveling down this road would actually slip off of the road or have any potential collisions. At this hour, investigators again are trying to figure out what caused the fire. Firefighters out here had a couple of slip and dips, but for the most part, there were no reported injuries, and thankfully in all of this, no one was inside the building. But again, this building out here behind me is now a complete loss. Reporting from Mount Airy, Talitha Vickers for WXII 12 News.
And firefighters battled against the weather to put out a garage fire with some dangerous chemicals inside. The fire started yesterday morning in the Madison community of Rockingham County. Investigators believe it was caused by an unattended stove. And the garage had 2 vehicles, paint, gasoline, and other explosive chemicals inside. Crews had to put salt on the nearby roads as well because of the water runoff freeze. And the fire at the old RJR building in Winston-Salem is still under investigation. Thursday's fire started on a catwalk between Plant 64 and the Wake Forest Research Building. Authorities still don't know what sparked that blaze. 2 lanes of Interstate 85 South in Davidson County were closed for most of the day after a tractor trailer flipped and ran off the road. The accident happened near mile marker 101, just a couple miles south of Thomasville. Authorities say that multiple cars were involved. One driver fled the scene but is now in police custody. Highway Patrol is still investigating what caused the accident. We'll have more on that as it develops. New tonight, Habitat for Humanity's new Restore in Winston-Salem had its grand opening celebration today. In addition to a ribbon cutting, the Restore offered free lunch and do-it-yourself workshops. Officials from the Restore say getting the message out about what Habitat for Humanity does is vital.
And across the country, Habitat Restores are now generating about $300 million of revenue to help families obtain homes. Habitat is a hand up, not a handout. The money we create and generate from the Restore helps build houses that then families buy in 20 or 25-year mortgages, and then that money goes back into our operation.
And if you have something you'd like to donate to the Restore and need help, you can reach the Restore's donation hotline at 336-893-8495. Today, parents in Guilford County got a chance to learn more about magnet schools in the district. 54 schools were represented at the School Magnet Fair, and magnet schools offer a specialized curriculum that's based on the students' interests and talents. Now, if you missed your chance to visit the fair, you can learn more about the magnet program, including how to apply at the Guilford County Schools website. Lawyers for a Charlotte police officer are asking a judge to stop prosecutors from submitting his case to a grand jury for a second time. Police say that in September of 2013, Officer Randall Carrick shot and killed Jonathan Farrell, who was looking for help after crashing his car. Tuesday, the jury decided to not indict Carrick on charges of voluntary manslaughter, but prosecutors can submit a lesser charge for the jury to consider. The Attorney General's office said it plans to resubmit the case to a full grand jury. As the opening ceremony for the Winter Games in Sochi gets closer, talk about sports is getting trumped by talk about security. With 5 suicide bombers on the loose and multiple threats made at the Games, many are worried that an attack in Sochi is inevitable. Russian authorities, however, are going to great lengths to prevent any such incident from happening. They're building what they call a ring of steel around the site of the Games. Most of the threats stem from Islamist extremists upset over Russia's military presence in nearby Dagestan. Ukraine's president held some talks with opposition leaders today as protests against his rule continued. Video footage from the president's press service shows opposition leaders sitting at a table for a meeting with the president. The talks come a day after the president appeared to offer concessions to the opposition. Yesterday, he pledged to reshuffle the government next week and to amend sweeping anti-protest laws. And Egypt's celebrations on the anniversary of the 2011 uprising against former President Hosni Mubarak were marred by violence and clashes today. The Egyptian Health Ministry says 29 people have been killed in today's violence so far. Supporters of Egypt's army chief clashed with anti-government demonstrators rallying at a square in downtown Cairo. The clashes underline Egypt's volatile political state in 3 years since Mubarak was ousted. Well, the NBC show America's Got Talent is going to be holding auditions in Greensboro next week for their new season. So if you're planning to try out, show us your talent ahead of time. You can upload a video of you to our You Local page and tune in Monday to hear from Judge Howie Mandel and what they're looking for. For information about the auditions, go to WXII12.com and look for a link to this story. Well, it started with stolen tweezers and an eyebrow pencil, but ended in a fiery car chase, what police say triggered the high-speed pursuit. Plus,
it's my son, and I can't let him die.
one mother did put herself in harm's way, all to save her son.
And we have seen some clouds in the mix of that sun today, but everybody noticing the big winter chill. How long does it last? We'll talk about wind chill advisories and show you some snow coming up next.